Welcome into another Inside Carolina Inside the Lines. I'm Tommy Ashley. That's Grace Nugent. We're here live at Durham Bulls Athletic Park, where North Carolina battered the Clemson Tigers pretty much from the get-go, scoring 4 runs in the first 3 innings, and then a big 8, a big snowman in the 5th to pretty much end the ball game. No run rule today, so North Carolina had to play it all the way out through the 9th. Winning 14-4, Grace, just a complete performance by the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I mean, it was all North Carolina the entire game. I don't think there was one point where I was like, oh, this could go the other way. Absolutely not. Ryan Lynch started on the mound in what I believe is his first start as a Tar Heel in this championship environment here at the Durham Bulls Athletic Park, and he absolutely shoved. I think he went a career-long pitches. He had 7 strikeouts. He really controlled the ball game from the get-go, and that really set the tone for this offense.
Yeah, I think a good point in the press conference we talked with Scott Forbes and Jackson Vanderbrake and Gavin Gallagher is the first couple at-bats of the game. They really pushed the Clemson starter. I believe 14 pitches in those first 2, and it sort of set the tone for the game. Carolina was able to score a run, like I said, in the first 3 innings, scored 2 in the second. But in that 5th, Scott Forbes made a great point in the post-game press conference. Clemson thought they were still in it. You give up a home run, you still have a chance. You give up another home run, you may still have a chance, and then Jackson Vanderbrake hits one out here at Tobacco Road. North Carolina just did not give Clemson an opportunity to breathe in this one.
No, they didn't let him come up for air at all. I mean, from the pitching to the hitting, everyone was in it for the party today. I mean, Alex Madera, 3 hits. Jackson played fantastic. He's really played fantastic all series. Luke got MVP of the entire tournament. Makes sense. He's got 2 really big homers, one of them both in close games at the time. But I mean, this offense they fired on all cylinders, and yes, Clemson was very much running low on pitching. This is not the best of the Clemson arms, but when the North Carolina offense can do this and they can pitch the ball as they can be a very, very scary opponent. And Scott Forbes made another great point that he got to get a lot of pitchers in here that hadn't pitched in a while, and they're in a neutral site. They're in a situation like they might be in next week in a regional and maybe even in a super and Omaha. Olin Johnson came in after Ryan Lynch. He led up a homer to Cam Canarella, who's one of the premier bats in this league and in the country. But other than that, he pitched fantastic. Folger Boaz came in, and then Cam Padgett, he closed it out. So it really was a complete team effort from the Tar Heels, and I mean, it shows in that 14-4 score.
Absolutely. You know, when you have a game like that, it needs to be over after 7 innings. The ACC has had run rule all season long, not for the championship game, but to your point there, it allowed pitchers to get work, and I think Scott Forbes will trade those extra outs they had to get to have that opportunity for guys to get pitching. And let's talk a little bit more about Ryan Lynch. I think this is worth discussing. Aiden Houck came in relief yesterday, and he sort of takes a few batters, maybe 1 or 2 batters, to settle in. You can't really do that in a relief role, so it was interesting to see Ryan Lynch come out here in sort of his relief mindset and go straight at the Clemson hitters right out of the gate, get them on their heels early, and that allowed Carolina's offense to eventually take off. But Ryan Lynch showed that, I think Scott's words were, he's going to be one of the best starters we've ever had here by the time he leaves, foreshadowing next season along with Jason DeCaro. But the pitching and Ryan Lynch in specifics, I think that's how this North Carolina team wins ball games in these tournaments.
Oh, yes. I mean, down the line, you can't just have 2 starters that do well. Sometimes you can't even have just 3 starters that do well. You're going to need more. You're going to need someone to step up. And today, and I think in the future, that will be Ryan Lynch. I remember, I think it was one of their preseason scrimmages. I was on a run around the Bosch, and I stopped to look, and I see this pretty big, stocky-legged kid on the mound, and I didn't recognize the number, so I look up at the TrackMan, and it shows 96 miles per hour, and I was like, who is that? That, my friends, was Ryan Lynch, and he showed that today. I think he got it up to 96.6, 96.7. I mean, this guy's only a freshman. He had a really level head. He controlled the game the whole time, and again, he set the tone, and the offense kind of thrives off that. We've seen that all season, that the offense will kind of follow what the pitching does. And the pitching for the Tar Heels the entire weekend has been fantastic. That is their bread and butter. Obviously, we've seen today they can hit, but this, I think, is really going to propel them forward when they host a regional and whatever they get beyond that.
Yeah, if this team hits like they did this weekend, especially late in the game, the first two, and then entire game here against Clemson, if they hit this way, they're going to be a tough out for anybody. Obviously, they're going to host next weekend in Boshamer Stadium. We'll find out the brackets tomorrow. Watch party in Boshamer. If you're near Chapel Hill, you might want to check it out. It'll be a fun time there to see. But also, they're going to be a national seed. We can debate whether it'll be a 1 or a 3 or a 4 or whatever. It doesn't really matter as long as you host that Super. But Grace, going forward, North Carolina, I asked Scott Forbes, did you accomplish everything you needed to accomplish this weekend? Obviously, winning's number one, but everything else. And I believe he said this was a very accomplished weekend for Carolina. A lot to look forward here coming up.
Oh, yes. I mean, I've said it a lot, and Link Jarrett said it last night. They executed well, and they played complete baseball. And that's what you need to do. You need to play complete baseball. You can't just have your pitching staff do really well and your bats go to sleep. And you can't have a bunch of defensive errors, and you need to capitalize on the other team's mistakes, which the Tar Heels did. They need to take all of these assets that it looks like they are putting together at the right time. We've seen glimpses the entire season of the dominant pitching, just mashing at the plate, the lockdown defense, all of those double plays, and then all of the intangibles that come with a team that can go really far. And this weekend, it looks like they all put it together. They did it last weekend at Florida State, and if they keep doing it, they have a really good shot to make a big statement going forward.
Absolutely. Carolina's shown they could win the 14-run games. They can win the 2-1 games as well with the pitching they've got. We'll see how it all shakes out. Stay tuned to Inside Carolina tomorrow, noon. Watch party in Boshamer Stadium. Find out who the Tar Heels will host in Boshamer next weekend. Find out where they'll be seated nationally. It'll be a fun day there. But also, Inside Carolina will have it fully covered. Grace Nugent, Tommy Ashley, Adam Smith, Jim Hawkins, the whole crowd will be in Boshamer. And who? Johnny T-shirt. Go to Johnny T-shirt on Franklin Street or johnnytshirt.com. Get all your Carolina swag. Maybe even one of these tight blue pinstripe Carolina baseball jerseys. We'll see you next time.